Hey! Woo! Episode 22! Let's get this going. Oh my god. What a show. Oh shit. How's everyone doing tonight? Episode 22. Smells Like Wrasslin on the Smells Like Cologne YouTube channel. Zara Cologne again with your post-Dynamite review and the comings and goings of all the other things that are be going on in wrestling in the past week. Forbidden Door pay-per-view happened this past Sunday. Excellent show despite all the injuries. So that was pretty cool. We're going to go over that tonight. We're going to go over some news regarding Alan Angels, some news regarding Sasha Banks, some news regarding Kenny Omega. So we're going to hear a little bit about that later tonight too. And then the main course tonight is the Blood and Guts review. Just trying to find my notes from Forbidden Door. How's it going in the chat tonight? Did you guys like tonight's show? Let me hear it, because I would like to know. Where are we? No. I think this should be it. No. Still looking for my notes, guys. I figured I started a little bit earlier, but normally I pretty much have... Oh, there we go. Awesome. All right. So, let's go over some news first before we go over the pay-per-view and tonight's show. First things first, I mean, apparently... Sasha Banks has been released, but I think that can neither be confirmed nor denied. Sorry, a second. All right. Anywho, so apparently she's not signed with WWE anymore. They released her. I mean, that is, I mean, to me, I don't take that to be real until I hear something officially from the WWE. This has been reported by somebody. I don't know. I've never heard of this guy before, but, you know, apparently his sources are normally good, but I don't really care. I don't trust the wrestling media anymore. So until I hear it like straight from Sasha or straight from actual official like release at WWE, I'm not gonna be saying I'm not gonna like say whether or not that's true or not. But if she is released, that's a pretty big deal because she's a pretty big star. So I'm very curious as to how that's gonna go down. Whatchamacallit? Another one, he's your favorite reporter, yeah, right? He's my brother's son's college roommate or some bullshit. I don't know. So yeah, if Sasha Banks is gone, that's a big deal. She's one of the biggest women stars that they have. Part of the four horsewomen, has been a part of a lot of groundbreaking matches for women in the WWE. The fact that she would be gone is a pretty big deal because that means what is supposedly the cream of the crop, the top company in the world, the place where every wrestler should aspire to go. The fact that people are leaving there, it says something. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, who out there is really missing the women's tag team titles? Not me. So they didn't even really boost up that, they didn't really elevate those titles at all. But I mean, an argument could be said, did the wrestlers elevate the titles? Did the booking elevate the titles? I don't know. But if she's gone, I'm interested as to where she's going to go. I mean, she does have potential in Hollywood. I mean, she's on a secondary role in Mandalorian. She really doesn't have any lines or whatever, but I mean, like, Star Wars is a big property, and Disney Plus is a big platform, so to have that kind of exposure is pretty good for her brand. She's related to Snoop Dogg, so that's a thing. She has her notoriety from WWE and fan base, so, she could, I don't know if I would say she would make it, but she definitely has enough going for her that she could make a run at Hollywood to see whether or not she would be successful or not. So that's, that was one thing. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, Doom. Yeah, see, if I would have been able to do that Vikings gif, I would have done it. But I can't, unfortunately. Whatchamacallit? We will also, give me a second. So that's that's a big deal. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alan Five Angels, it looks like he is not going to be coming back to AEW once his contract is up. I mean, I'm of the opinion that once Brody Lee passed on, the Dark Order really didn't have anything going for them. Like the whole they had the Dark Order. From the second they had the Dark Order, they were promoting the Exalted One. Nobody knew who that was, except for me. I freaking called that shit, by the way. Brody Lee shows up. He becomes the leader of the Dark Order. The Dark Order will become viral, kind of like a viral, not like viral, but kind of like an underground viral hit sensation on the YouTube show that AEW has, which is Being the Elite. So, and then he died. And they had no leader. And they tried to do their best by putting Hangman in the mix. Hangman was a guy without a team because he was just on the outs with the Elite. The Dark Order was a team without, like, a leading guy. And it just seemed to fit, And for that story, for Hangman, it worked. But, I mean, Hangman was never meant to be the leader of a group. That's why they kind of kept on being like, listen, I'm going to be on my own, but you guys are my friends. But, you guys are going to be, I'm on my own. I'm doing my own thing. But, like, I have your back and you have mine. But, like, I stand on my own. So, like, they really did push the fact that Hangman was not the leader of this group. I mean, granted, they did a lot of, like, multi-man matches. He did a lot of multi-man matches with the Dark Order. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think that, like, probably the only two people who would make it out of the Dark Order at this point are Evil Uno and John Silver. John Silver has huge marketability. I think he's the most over person in the group. And the stuff that Evil Uno's been doing with the video game division and stuff, I don't really think he's going anywhere. He has his own YouTube channel with AEW, his Twitch, the whole nine. So I think he brings a lot more to the table than the rest of the guys. 10, maybe you unmask him, repackage him, have him come in as something else. 5 is gone. Stu Grayson is gone. Anna Jay, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't ask her to come back once her contract is done. The fact of the matter is the problem, one of the problems with the women's division is that they didn't have a lot of talent that could both cut a promo and wrestle. And unfortunately for Anna Jay, in my opinion, she doesn't do either of those at a level where I would be like, this person deserves to be on national television. So, I think she's gone too. And then that leaves, Grayson, that leaves Uno and Reynolds. Reynolds could definitely make it as like a singles guy. Maybe you have him team with Danhausen, maybe have him, maybe if, whatever. He could feud with guys in like the opening acts on Dark, mid-card guys, comedy acts, stuff like that. And he could always team with Evil Uno, they could always be together. So, we'll see where it goes, from there. Kenny Omega saying that if he has any more setbacks in his physical therapy, his road to recovery, that he's done. He just doesn't want to have to go through all that to get re-injured again, and he doesn't want to have to constantly be having setbacks in his physical therapy. And, he wrestled with a lot of injuries for a while. He let them compile, and that guy wrestled full tilt all the way into the end when he lost to Hangman at Full Gear last year. So we're getting close to a year of no Kenny Omega. So I love Kenny Omega. I mean he was like the get for AEW when they first started. Outside of Jericho and Moxley, like Kenny Omega was the guy. Like I don't think they would have had an AEW if it wasn't for Kenny Omega. If Kenny Omega went to WWE, it would have sounded, it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot of, it would have been lackluster, AEW's debut. I mean, they ended up signing enough talent that they probably could make up for it, but like still. But that sucks, man. I mean, I was kind of hoping to see a rematch between Omega and Danielson at Grand Slam or at some point in time. There were so many matches Omega could have. Now he could have matches with guys in New Japan again. He could have fought Okada again. He could have fought Jay White. He could have fought Adam Cole. He could have fought Danielson. He could have fought Moxley again. There's so many people that Omega could fight now because since he's been gone, like that roster has exploded with really high-end talent. So I'm very curious as to the future of Kenny Omega. I would be really sad to see that he wouldn't be come back to wrestling. I mean, granted, he's not dealing with concussions as far as I know. So that's not to say that like he might be just gone for like a very like not a very long time, but like longer than like long enough that like he's gone. You know, like like no one's expecting him, any of that shit. And I don't know, man. That would bum me out. That would bum me out big time. I love Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is what got me into New Japan and Bullet Club and all that stuff. So I was super sad when I heard that was what he was considering. Give me a second here. People asking me to send links to the podcast, so I'm sending that out right now. There we go. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm very curious as to what's going to happen with Kenny Omega. I wish him all the best. I hope he heals up and he could go back to doing what he's doing, which is being the best bout machine. I think I had one more note of something I wanted to talk to you guys about. Oh, Adam Cole. Adam Cole apparently he's been wrestling injured for quite some time. Just ended up, I think, getting a concussion during the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which is a shame. So that's a real shame, you know, another big star for AEW going down. This is one of those times where, you know, when we were saying several months ago that AEW's roster is overcrowded, man, are we glad it was overcrowded, because with the amount of injuries they had, if they didn't have that kind of star power, I think people would definitely be talking about what's AEW going to do. But to be quite honest, they are freaking overloaded with talent, and they could lose like 5, 6, 7 guys and still be okay. They still got guys like Claudio, like Mox, you know, like Orange Cassidy, you know, like there's like a lot of guys on there that could carry a show. So, you know, oh, and then do remind me, apparently Joey Ryan is working at Disney. I mean, guys got to eat, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much the news. That's the only things that I really thought were noteworthy in the last 7 days. I mean, if anyone on the chat wants to hop in and think of any other piece of news that they feel was relevant, I'm definitely open to it. But we're going to go over the Sunday pay-per-view, Forbidden Door at the United Center in Chicago. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic pay-per-view. I kind of got a little bit puttered out towards the end, towards the last 2 matches. I was kind of like, I had already like popped enough throughout the night, and I had already exuded enough energy. I was like, I have nothing more. I have nothing more for these last like 2 matches, but I thought it was the as of right now, show of the year. Definitely blew away any of the other shows that AEW has done this year. It was a fantastic show. I definitely recommend anyone who's a fan to go out and order it if they haven't already. But let's go over it. So, you know, this past Sunday again, I said was Forbidden Door. It basically was 2 months after they debuted it. It was a 2-month build to this pay-per-view, on top of all the different injuries that they had, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people, including myself, were I mean, I was a little disappointed because there were certain matches that I wanted to see that I wasn't going to see. I understand their reasons, so I wasn't too bummed out. I was also a little bit worried with all the injuries that had occurred, whether or not the show was actually going to deliver, because basically the show that they put on was essentially a Plan C. Plans A and B got destroyed with injury. There was like 2 last-minute replacements. I think like Tomohiro Ishii was injured, so he couldn't join in. So it was Clark Connors, and it was supposed to be a 8-man tag, which ended up being a trios match because someone else on I think Yujiro Takahashi or somebody like that, someone who was supposed to team with the team that was supposed to face like Sting and Darby, like one of those guys got injured also, so it turned into a trios match. So there were a lot of different changes that happened to this card. And the fact that I could sit here now, a couple of days later, and say this was so far show of the year, that really says something, you know? I mean, like, to be quite honest, like, if you're not a fan of New Japan, and you're not a fan of that style of wrestling, and you're not a fan of AEW, like, I'm not sure how you would have thought about this pay-per-view. Because a lot of the guys, number one, if you're used to just watching AEW television, you don't watch New Japan, a lot of these guys you've kind of never seen before, but I really think that they were able to showcase all their abilities to the point that it might make you interested in watching something New Japan related in the future. I mean, I definitely think they're going to do a Forbidden Door too. I mean, this pay-per-view did great money for AEW, over $1 million at the gate at the box office, over $5 million in pay-per-view. So definitely, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, the Time Bomb got the fever, that's right. So, you know, I thought it was a great show. We're going to go over that, and then we're going to get into Dynamite for tonight. That's kind of why I wanted to start early, because we have a lot to go over, and not a lot of time to do so. So here we go. The card was Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim AEW World title. The IWGP champion Jay White defends in a fatal four-way against Kazuchika Okada, Hangman Page, and Adam Cole. The IWGP US champion Will Ospreay defends against Orange Cassidy. Thunder Rosa defends her title against Toni Storm. Malachi Black, Clark Connors, Miro, and Pac fight for the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic title. The IWGP and ROH tag team titles were on the line in a three-way as FTR faces Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan and Roppongi Vice. Zack Sabre Jr. fights a mystery opponent. And then Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, Sammy Guevara take on Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Also, Trios Action, Young Bucks, and El Phantasmo take on Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi. They also had a couple of matches from the buy-in that were pretty cool. They had Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto fight Aaron Solo and QT Marshall, in which Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto came away with the win. Lance Archer defeated Nick Comoroto, and then Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland defeated Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. Then I think the final match of that buy-in was Max Caster, Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn defeated Yu Uemura, Alex Coughlin, Kevin Knight, and the DKC from the New Japan Dojo. Though that it was a fun little buy-in. One thing of note that kind of plays into what happens tonight on Dynamite is that Danhausen comes out and plays the Ass Boys song, in which both of the Ass Boys ran and left Max Caster and Billy Gunn to do a 2-on-4, in which they still won. So that played into another match that happened tonight on Dynamite, which we'll go over a little bit later in the show. Opening match. They had Kevin Kelly on commentary for the pay-per-view, which I thought was awesome. They brought out Jim Ross and Shivani for other things throughout the night, so I thought it was cool. There was a little bit of a revolving door of really great commentators, so I was excited about that. I think they kept Kevin Kelly on for the entire show. The only people they kind of added on and removed were Jim Ross and Shivani. So the match started off with the trios match, Jericho, Suzuki, and Guevara. They ended up beating Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Shota Umino takes the pin. Pretty much, I thought it was a great match. There was a point in the match where you actually thought that Shota Umino had a chance to win. I think, he got hit with a code breaker and kicked out, and that really got the crowd popping. But he ended up taking, the Judas effect for the win. For the loss. So Shota Umino lost due to taking the Judas effect. So great match, a great opener. Crowd was hot right off the bat. They love fucking Eddie Kingston is so over, dude. Eddie Kingston is so over. I can't wait for him to eventually have like an actual title run, because him holding the title would be great. Him holding the title, he would fight every week. He's a great promo. He could create a feud with anybody. He's that creative when it comes to like starting beefs with people. The guy's just real. He's phenomenal. And I really hope that in some point in the near future that Eddie Kingston is holding a title. I don't know what title it would be. Maybe All Atlantic, maybe the TNT, maybe the AEW title. I don't know. I feel like the AEW title, Tony's got a really specific plan of who he wants holding that belt. And I don't think Eddie Kingston is in the cards anytime soon. So, anywho, one of the matches of the night I thought was the second match of the evening. FTR defeats Roppongi Vice and United Empire to win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships and retain the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Awesome match. They had Caprice Coleman join the commentary team. They had Bobby Cruz do the ring introductions. I thought it was awesome. Great freaking match. Great. And at a certain point in the match, they had Harwood feign an arm injury and get sent to the back. I guess they kind of wanted to play up the fact that there were a lot of injuries leading up to this card. So I guess they kind of played into the fact that people were hoping that no one got injured on this card. So very interesting. Hold on, I gotta take a swig of this. I'm not getting paid for that, by the way. Harwood ended up coming back in the middle of the match. Huge pop. They end up winning with the by hitting the big rig on I believe it was Rocky Romero they hit it on. Am I correct? Let me just check my notes again. Yeah, they hit it on Rocky Romero. They won. Now they are the IWGP, Ring of Honor, and AAA Tag Team Champions. It's only a matter of time before they face the Bucks for those AEW belts. I think the AEW Tag Team titles, I think the Bucks are gonna hold on to them for the rest of the summer. And then I think at All Out, I think it's either gonna be at All Out or it's gonna be at Grand Slam that how did I get a glass Coke? Chipotle. They have the Mexican Coca-Cola with the real sugar. That's the shit. I'm a man of refined taste there, Doom. So I think it's either going to be one of the next two big shows of the year, being that Blood and Guts is done, and I don't think there's any other big shows happening this summer unless what they do. Did they do like a beach break? Right? Isn't beach break a thing? Or didn't they do that kind of earlier this year in Cleveland when it was snowy? I'm pretty sure. So I believe that's my prediction. If they're going to have an FTR Bucks match, it's either got to be at Grand Slam or All Out, period. It has to be on that kind of stage. FTR should win the belts. They'll have all the belts. They'll be put over big. This should satisfy all the FTR fans who were saying that they weren't getting any rub when they were doing random feuds with random people. Listen, they're not your favorite. Let me tell you people something. Your favorite wrestler isn't always going to be in the fucking spotlight all the time, okay? So get over that shit, all right? When you see your guys doing nothing, it's just the in-between of them doing something. But not everybody could be doing something all the time. I'm sorry. FTR, it was only a matter of time before they got their rub, and look at them now. They're getting rubbed so hard, it's almost considered indecent exposure. So I don't even know. But that's pretty much how that went. They had the Fatal 4-Way match. Pac, Malachi Black, Miro, and Clark Connors. I honestly thought that Miro was going to win this match. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Pac won it. Pac has been with the company since day one. And I know a lot of people are just like, oh, Pac's going to finally get a rub. Pac's finally going to get a rub. And then 3 years later, he got one. So it just takes time. It may not take days. It may not take weeks. It may not take months. It may actually take years. But it seems like the guys who haven't been getting their turn are starting to get their turn. So, again, I feel like Tony Khan has built up enough good faith with me that when I see things that I don't like, I'm pretty much just waiting for them to just get better. I'm not hoping they get better. I'm not thinking they're not going to get better and they're going to get worse. So far, whatever corrections need to be made have been made, so I'm all about it. Pac wins, getting Clark Connors in the Brutalizer. I thought it was an awesome match. Clark Connors got a lot of positive reaction. He did not get much reaction when he came out. I will tell you that much right now. But towards the latter half of this match, this crowd was all about Clark Connors. He was the one who put Miro through the table on the outside. He ends up doing a pretty crazy comeback afterwards to just end up kind of getting squashed by Miro later. But still, like, definitely, it was some really, really great stuff. Yeah, Doom, I think that if Jeff Hardy didn't relapse, I think that the Hardys would be the AEW tag champs right now. And I think that probably eventually down the line, the Bucks beat the Hardys for the belts. And then it's the Bucks again versus... all roads were going to lead to FTR holding all the belts. It just depends who they were going to beat them from. Either FTR would have beaten the Hardys for the title, and then they defend them against the Bucks, or the Bucks end up winning the titles, and then they end up dropping them to FTR. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So Pac is the new inaugural All Atlantic champion, so I'm pretty excited about that. Congratulations to Pac. Shivani came out for commentary. This was a really, really fun match. The match started with all the entrances. Sting's music came out, but you didn't see him. Then the Bucks came out, and they ended up coming out with their OG, like, Bullet Club entrance, and they had the Bullet Club tights and everything. I thought it was awesome. I never thought I'd hear, like, the Bullet Club music play on national television, and it actually happened. So, I mean, on pay-per-view, like, on American pay-per-view, so I was pretty excited about that. Then all of a sudden, the lights go out. The lights turn back on. You see a shadow of Sting in the background. Because, no, the lights go off, you see a spotlight, and you see what you think is Sting up in the rafters. So I'm like, holy shit, they're going to have him come from the rafters like in WCW. I mean, at that point, I was like, I doubt they're going to have him come from I almost for a split second thought that they were going to have him come from the rafters. But I was like, this is the company that did the Owen Hart Memorial Foundation tournament. No way they're having anyone come from the top of the building ever. So what ends up being, it was a fake Sting. The light shuts off. The light turns back on. You see a silhouette of Sting in the background. He's on top of the freaking entrance. He does a crossbody dive on top of the entire Bullet Club, wipes them out. Darby runs up with a skateboard, beats the shit out of Hikuleo, and we're off to the races. This match was great. Sting no-sells a double super kick from the Bucks. He no-sells a titty twister from Phantasmo, and then gives Phantasmo a titty twister and kicks him in the dick, which I thought was hysterical. A great match. I guess you could call it like a kind of like a party match. It was a match just to have fun and watch. I thought it was great. Darby, Sting, phenomenal tag team. Every single time they're out there, I know I'm gonna have a good time. And the Bucks always put on a good match. I believe this is the first match that they had with Sting. Excuse me. So, it was a great match. I was super excited about it. Let's see. They announced September 21st, AEW returns to Arthur Ashe Stadium for our Grand Slam. I will 100% fucking be there. I will be there with my homies. So, most of you guys in the chat, I pretty much know me personally. So, we definitely got to get together for that shit. Next match was Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. Thunder Rosa retains the title after two Fire Thunder drivers. I thought it was a good match. This was not a match where I'm like, I don't think I'm going to pay attention to it. You know, it's the women's match. It usually ends up being the coldest match of the night. And not going to lie, like, after that freaking match that they had with Darby and Sting, like, the crowd was hyped. So, like, I was curious as to how the crowd was going to react to this. This was a solid match by both women. I have a hard time accepting, when people, when, like, people have, like, multiple chances at a title shot. I kind of like it. Like, if someone's gonna get built, I feel like they should win. Toni Storm got built. Obviously, she didn't win. But I guess this is all part of a grander build. She's gonna lose a couple of times. I mean, the same thing with Ruby, Ruby Soho. You know, she's lost a couple of times. I think even Thunder Rosa lost a lot of title opportunities before she ended up getting the belt. So eventually, you know, Toni Storm is going to be a champion. I just don't know when and whom she's going to beat. But as of right now, Thunder Rosa is the woman in AEW outside of Jade Cargill. So we'll see how that goes. But I did like the fact that they had Toni kick out of one of the Fire Thunder drivers. The crowd did not expect it. There was a huge pop for that. That was one of the times I was like, oh shit, maybe she might actually win this. That's the kind of feeling I want to have in my championship match, in any match. Oh shit, this guy might win this. You know what I mean? That's a great feeling to have because it's a feeling of unknown to get you involved because you don't want to miss anything. Because if you could predict it, you're less likely to pay attention. If you can't predict it, you want to make sure you're watching everything to make sure that you don't miss anything. So I like the element of surprise big time. I mean, granted, a lot of times the element of surprise is pretty much easily booked, so you can kind of tell what that surprise is. But if it's done well, even if you know it, it's still very good. So that was the match. I thought it was great. I think she actually, I apologize. She hit one Fire Thunder driver and she kicked out. She hit Dustin Rhodes' Final Reckoning and got the pin. This, I think, in my opinion, was the match of the night. Will Ospreay defeats Orange Cassidy to retain the IWGP United States Championship. Ospreay hasn't been carrying the belt. It's been held by Juice Robinson, who cut a promo earlier tonight, backstage saying he's the one true champion, and all this was a number one contenders match. So Ospreay wore his Rev Pro belt to the ring. That was the only belt that he wore. This was a great match. Cassidy could definitely wrestle. I understand that there are some people that don't like, like the pockets thing and the fake kicking thing and the laziness thing. But, like, I think someone explained this to me better. Like, he's kind of AEW's R-Truth, except, like, they actually let him go out there and wrestle and be taken way more seriously than R-Truth ever was. So he definitely has his comedy, he definitely has his shtick, but when it comes down to it, the guy can freaking wrestle. And Will Ospreay was a fantastic opponent. He's a very high-flying kind of guy. Orange Cassidy is very lucha-esque. He does a lot of Hurricane Ranas and stuff like that. I thought it was a phenomenal match. They had Orange Cassidy kick out of the Sling Blade, which was awesome. I popped for that, and so did the crowd. He ended up getting pinned by the Stormbreaker. But fantastic match. If I was to say there was a match on that card to watch, if you were to watch one match, it would be Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. Great match. So then, after the match, Aussie Open comes out, starts beating the shit out of Orange Cassidy. Roppongi Vice comes out to help, and they're getting double teamed, and Shibata's music hits. Holy fucking shit. Shibata's music hits. I love Shibata, and I really wish he would be able to wrestle again, but I if you know the circumstances of why he's not wrestling, it's probably best that he doesn't. But he came out, slapped the shit out of a whole bunch of people, did a missile drop kick in the corner to Ospreay. Awesome moment seeing Shibata there. Great moment. Crowd pop big. I pop big. Great moment. Zack Sabre Jr. ends up fighting, and at the time of this live broadcast, you guys probably already know, Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Antonio Cesaro from WWE, is All Elite. He had a great match with Zack Sabre Jr. The crowd popped huge for this guy. Huge. Everyone kind of assumed, like, if there was anyone who was going to join the Blackpool Combat Club, it would be a guy like Claudio Castagnoli. I, of course, was hoping for Johnny Gargano, the greatest wrestler of all time. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. The greatest is Johnny Gargano. Great match. Very good technical wrestling match. Claudio's a fantastic professional wrestler and a great technical wrestler as well. I don't think better than Danielson, but still a great match nonetheless. The next match was the Jay White versus Okada versus Hangman versus Adam Cole for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Jay White came out the victor. The ending kind of got a little bit messed up because Cole got concussed at a certain point in the match, and Jay White basically had to, like, pin Adam Cole in the weirdest way possible. But Adam Cole was done, man. He was knocked pretty loopy. He couldn't stand up. He was able to walk to the back under his own power, so thankfully for that. But it's going to be a while until you see Adam Cole. I think he got concussed twice in 1 month, which is, like, not good. So he's definitely going to take a serious amount of time off before he comes back. Which is great, because they really weren't doing too much with him anyway, so he should go, be off TV, get healed. The second he comes back, he's going to be over as fuck. He's Adam Cole, baby. Jon Moxley defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi to win the interim AEW World Championship. To all you people who actually thought Tanahashi was going to win this match and become the AEW Championship, I'm not going to lie, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Tanahashi being the AEW interim champion would be by far the worst booking decision that AEW could have ever made. Especially with a lot of your major names out right now, the fact that you're going to put a guy out there who can't cut a promo, who isn't very well known to American audiences, especially audiences that are not like AEW hardcores, that's not a smart idea. So if anyone thought that was even possible, you're a fucking idiot. So Jon Moxley won. It was an okay match, not gonna lie. There was a fight somewhere in the crowd that kind of got people distracted. But otherwise, great match. Mox is the champ. Mox should be the champ. And the eventual match between him and Punk is obviously going to be a great match, because I think they're going to be able to cut great promos against one another, and they're going to have a great match against one another. This was a phenomenal program. Phenomenal pay-per-view. At the end of the match, Jericho got attacked. Moxley got attacked by the Jericho Appreciation Society because with all the build for Forbidden Door, they really couldn't build Blood and Guts, so like they had to do something, so they did that quick little toss in to get a build going for Blood and Guts. Speaking of Blood and Guts, let's get into it. So I believe there might have been an injury to someone in that match. I'm not 100% sure. I'm kind of checking as I do this broadcast. But let's get into it. There were a couple of matches prior to the Blood and Guts match we're going to go over. Let's see here. Oh, and one last thing. When the Blackpool Combat Club came out to help, when the Blackpool Combat Club came out to help Moxley at the end of Forbidden Door, they showed a little bit of dissension between Claudio Castagnoli and Eddie Kingston. And if you're wondering as to why, you wouldn't really know unless you followed Chikara. They had a very intense feud in Chikara. I did not watch Chikara at the time. This is research that I did after I saw that little kerfuffle that they had at Forbidden Door. So I did some research and kind of looked into it. But I don't know. In the research that I did, I couldn't confirm whether or not they had actual heat outside of the ring. But they definitely had like a feud or whatnot. It looks like Doom in the chat is saying no way. Doom, I don't think Ortiz broke his knee because he was the only one of Proud and Powerful that climbed the top of the cage at the end of the match and was there. I think it was Santana broke his knee. Yeah. Santana's the one with the hair. Ortiz, the bald one, did not break his knee. Ortiz, the bald one, was at the top of the cage. No way that dude climbs a 20-foot cage with a broken knee. No way, dude. Let me see something here. Oh, I knew it! Santana tried to do a Uranagi, and it literally just, like, buckled his knee, and just, like, the guy, like, just dropped him. It was like, yeah. No, the bald one is Ortiz. The curly-haired one is Santana. Santana's the one who got injured. Yeah. He definitely got injured in the Uranagi. That definitely showed. If you go on Wrestle News Co.'s Twitter page, they have a GIF there that shows the injury. Santana, Doom, Santana. He's the one, Santana. So, yeah, that was definitely he might have had the same. To be honest, I look like almost the same injury that Boogs had at WrestleMania. So if that's the case, Santana's out for quite a while, unfortunately. Where's my notes for this? Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. So, the show starts off with Ethan Page versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy has new music, Jane by Jefferson Starship, which I thought was phenomenal. It was so good. Great match. Orange Cassidy's super over. Yeah, PNP taking another bump on the road, dude, man. They've definitely had a string of bad luck over the last several years, but I definitely think that they're just one of those teams where their time may not be now, but their time is definitely coming. It may not be soon, but they are a team that is going to get their due. Fans are Proud and Powerful. Don't worry, man. I think they're going to be all right. Orange Cassidy defeats Ethan Page. Lambert comes out being a douche. Gets Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta out of ringside, quoting some rule that they're not listed as official managers, so they can't be at ringside, whatever. Awesome match. I love Ethan Page. Eventually, he's going to get his due also. He's too good of a wrestler and too good of a talker not to get his due, and it's pretty much the reason why he's on television right now. Even though he lost to Orange Cassidy, he's still getting that TV time. Christian Cage speaks, getting booed out of the freaking building. Basically, he said that he was told by management to apologize for his comments last week about Jungle Boy's father, saying He wishing, that I can't be your father figure. You don't have a father. Your father's dead. And basically said, after that, Jungle Boy, I'm sorry. Your entire family isn't dead except Jungle Boy's mother. What a dick. Then he goes and then Luchasaurus comes out. He's got new music. I wouldn't necessarily say he has new gear. He's just wearing all black, but he still has that dinosaur mask on. And like flames and stuff coming in for his entrance. Now listen. I am of the opinion that Luchasaurus is also going to be one of those guys that's just like their contract is just not going to be, they're not going to be asked to come back once their contract runs out. I think he's very limited into what they could do with him. I think the dinosaur gimmick can only take you so far. To be quite honest, any sort of silly, stupid gimmick can only take you so far unless you're really great in the ring, like Orange Cassidy. So his isn't like too stupid. It's just like, like a little gimmicky or whatever, but like it's not as ridiculous as being a motherfucking dinosaur on national television. You know what I mean? So even though he's dressed up in black, I'm like, he's still a dinosaur who calls himself Luchasaurus. So it's like, I don't know. Unless they have him lose the mask and like do something completely different. Like I just can't get into Luchasaurus. So, he beat the shit out of Serpentico the end. More than likely, the only reason they're turning him heel is because they don't really have many people for Jungle Boy to face leading up to his eventual match with Christian Cage. So I'm assuming he'll eventually fight Luchasaurus, beat him, and then he'll fight Christian Cage and beat him also. And that's going to be the start of his push. And then who knows? Maybe he'll have an AEW title opportunity, or maybe he'll have a TNT or any other kind of title opportunity for his singles run. So we'll see where that goes. Scorpio Sky and Wardlow were backstage. They have a face-to-face. Wardlow says he doesn't give a shit about anyone in American Top Team. He'll beat them just like he beat all the security guards. And he's going to take home the title. Sky challenged him for a title match next week in a street fight. So, I mean, a street fight, that could go either way. A street fight, in my opinion, is a way for Wardlow to lose and still be protected, because he didn't lose in a straight-up wrestling match, and obviously a street fight has no rules, so we'll see. Scorpio is... the reason he hasn't defended the belts because he's been injured. So I'm curious as to whether or not they're gonna have him drop the belt so he can heal up more, or if he's healed up enough that he could continue to have a title reign. And like, I don't know what kind of chase they're gonna have Wardlow had. Maybe Wardlow's gonna end up having to go through all the guys on the American Top Team before he ends up getting to Sky. So who knows? But it's kind of like the same. But that's like the same shit that they do with MJF. Like they make him fight a whole bunch of people until you get to the one guy. Like I just miss feuds where it's just the two guys are getting separate wins, but they hate each other, and then they go and they want to see who's the best. So, but it's whatever. They have so Danhausen was challenged by Max Caster and the Gun Club after the Ass Boys song that played at Forbidden Door to a tag match, and he could pick any one of his choosing. And out of everyone he could have picked, Danhausen picked FTR. Crowd popped huge. FTR is over as fuck right now. They ended up winning the match. At the end, Austin Gov shoved Anthony Bowens is healed. He got out of the wheelchair and came out and started whooping ass. I thought it was great. And that's how. Danhausen and FTR still won. After the match, Austin shoved Bowens, but then Billy Gunn shoved his sons and defended the Acclaimed. So, I mean, eventually this is going to lead to a Ass Boys versus Acclaimed feud. And I'm assuming they're going to turn the Acclaimed face. I'm not too sure because the Ass Boys are pretty much heels. So, we'll see what happens. Woo, excuse me. I tried this thing called exercising, and it leaves me tired. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh cut a video promo. Basically, Lethal wants Joe to sign a contract to defend the ROH television title at Death Before Dishonor, which should be in the late July. So that should be interesting. I am curious how they're going to build a pay-per-view when they have no television to build pay-per-view, which means they're going to start having to take time away from AEW feuds to build this ROH feud. ROH needs something because buying them without a television deal, I don't know what that was all about. Maybe, the time was right to buy ROH at a good price, and any longer, they probably would have got bought out by WWE, and that whole library would be gone. So I'm not sure. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing, but ROH definitely needs television because AEW is too overcrowded to be sharing television time with Ring of Honor to build up their roster. Just like it was really hard to build Blood and Guts when you were trying to build a pay-per-view event with New Japan. So, something's definitely got to be done there. Jade Cargill had an open challenge. Layla Gray answered, a friend of Royal in the chat. Unfortunately, for my boy Royal, your girl got manhandled by Jade tonight, and she got beat. Hathaway basically, after the match, Stokely Hathaway came out and was just like, we put out an open challenge. No one from the company answered. The only person who answered was someone who doesn't even work here. And Athena and Statlander, they're not, I don't think they're scared. I just think they're lazy. Athena and Statlander come out. They attack Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill. And Layla Gray helps out Jade. So I don't know what that's all about. Is Layla Gray about to be a baddie? I am not sure, but we'll see. Young Bucks are backstage, basically saying they have no friends in the locker room. Basically, all the elites is gone or injured. It's just the Bucks. So the Bucks are having a match against Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi at Rampage on Friday, and if they win, they will get a AEW Tag Team title match. And I'm gonna let you know right now, they're not beating the Bucks. So the Rampage lineup for Friday is the Bucks versus Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, Toni Storm versus Nyla Rose, and the Royal Rampage, a 20-man battle royal for the interim AEW for a shot at the interim AEW World Championship match, and it's going to take place in the 2 Blood and Guts rings. So that should be interesting. We're going to see that Friday. Jim Ross joined commentary. William Regal joined commentary. Jericho Appreciation came out in matching red outfits. They looked like fucking idiots, but it was hysterical. Kingston, Santana, Ortiz, and the Blackpool Combat Club came out. It was a match. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you really can't. I mean, if you were to compare it to last year's Blood and Guts, this was definitely the better match. If you were to compare the big stunts that they did at the end of this match, it was better than Blood and Guts in last year. But like with those matches, like there's just too much going on for me to focus on. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much going on, and it started at 9:00, which means this was an hour-long match with like 3 to 5 commercial breaks. So, like, you basically were watching spot after spot after spot after spot, which, in that kind of match, it is what it is. But hey, I mean, they all bled all over the place. They had, they had broken glass, they had thumbtacks, they had kendo sticks, they had tables, they had chairs, they had the cage, they threw Sammy Guevara off the top. Him getting thrown off of the cage worked a lot better than when Jericho got thrown off because of the camera angles. But it looked awesome when he fell off the cage. I thought that was pretty cool. This match obviously was not without his injuries. Santana definitely has some sort of knee injury going on. So that happened. So hopefully he gets better. Again, proud and powerful. Just the victims of just unfortunate circumstance. So I, shout out to Santana. Hopefully he heals up soon so he can get back to doing what he's doing, what he does best, which is entertain us, which I think is great. The way that the match ended was, both, who was it? I think it was, Kingston, Jericho, Castagnoli, and, who went up on the cage? It was one of the members of 2.0. I think it was Matt Menard. Was it Matt Menard? Who was it? Yeah, it was Matt Menard. So, they went up, and, basically, Kingston got Jericho in the stretch plum, and Claudio got Menard in the sharpshooter. And it was Menard that tapped before Jericho. So Kingston did not get to tap Jericho out and win the match. It was kind of stolen from him by Claudio. So I believe that is going to be the catalyst for them fighting going forward. Hopefully that leads to a match at either Grand Slam or All Out. I wouldn't put this on just any random episode of Dynamite. So, I thought it was all right, but I'm more excited for what this match is going to bring going forward than what the match actually was. I think the Claudio and Kingston match is going to be phenomenal. Eddie needs someone to feud with. He's super over. Claudio's super over. They're going to have a great wrestling match, and they have history. I don't know how well Claudio could stand up in a promo battle with Eddie freaking Kingston, but it should be very interesting. We're going to know who the number one contender is on Friday after the 20-man Royal Rampage to see who's going to fight Mox for the interim belt. So a lot of things are, up in the air. I'm curious as to what was going on with Kingston because trying to read his lips while I was watching the show, it looked like something happened to his back. He doesn't know what, but he's okay. So I guess he didn't want any sort of like medical attention while he was up there, but I think he did get hurt. The extent of his injury, obviously we won't know until someone from AEW or Eddie himself says something. So we're waiting on that. But I thought it was a really fun show. And I am very curious as to what's going to happen next week on Dynamite outside of that TNT title match. What other storylines are going to be popping up after Forbidden Door? What are these builds going to be going towards? Because I'm assuming that the next build is going to be, Grand Slam isn't until like September, like middle of September. So I'm assuming All Out is going to be either a couple of weeks before or a couple of weeks after, but definitely in that vicinity because Full Gear is usually the latter part of the year show where they do it in like November, December. Hold on a second. All right. But that pretty much was the show for the evening. How's it going in the chat tonight? Let's see. We got Josh. We got Doom. I saw Royal in there. Who else is here? Not sure who else, but good to have you guys in the chat. I am the perfect hype for an AEW. Doom, how many times have I said this? I would be a better booker than a wrestler. I mean, if I was to be a wrestler, I'd be phenomenal, obviously, but I would be definitely a better booker than a wrestler, definitely. As we are closing out the show for tonight, where I'm going to put this link in the chat. Come on. There we go. Hopefully I should see that in the chat on my screen over here. But recently, my friend Evan just came out with a new EP called Craving. It is on Apple Music. It is on Spotify. It is a phenomenal EP, one of many phenomenal EPs that she's put out. So if you all were, I put the link in the chat for you guys to click on it. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, support, awesome music, listen to her, it's fantastic, spread it around, tell your friends. She's an immensely talented musician, an immensely talented singer, and an immensely very good dear friend of mine. So, if all you all in the chat, I thank you, I appreciate you supporting me. That same sort of support that you give me, send that her way, please, and thank you. You won't be disappointed. Phenomenal music from Evan on the links over there. That's Evan with 2 V's. All right? So, support, listen, check her out. Phenomenal musician. I was actually going to try and play some of that music on the outro, but I don't know. Evan, if you're in the chat, I won't get a copyright strike for playing your music at the end of the show, will I? I hope not. No, you know what? You should go and click on that link to listen to it. I'm not gonna spoil that. Go over there and I want some clicks and links and listens. So go out there and support. So thank you very much, guys, for supporting me. Go out there and support her. I would appreciate that. Also, another great show. Smells Like Wrasslin in the books. 22 episodes. I'm actually really excited that we've gotten this far. I'm going to keep on going further. The channel is only going to get larger. Yeah? You want me to play it at the end? I'll play it at the end. I will 100% do that. Let me see if I could get that on Apple Music now and see if I could play that in the background. And that'll be the outro music for tonight's episode. And I think it's definitely well deserved. Apple Music. That's right here. Bingo. All right, so we're gonna close out the show with Evan's latest EP called Craving. Definitely check it out. Again, Spotify, Apple Music. Check it out and listen. Thank you all. Oh, I'm not signed in. What a mess. This is what happens when you're when you jump from Mac to PC all the time. Give me one moment. Oh, great. Perfect. All right. Now I can actually play this. All right, guys. Thank you very much for... What do you mean turn off my light? The light in the background? How am I supposed to see, Doom? All right? I gotta have the light show this handsome mug of mine. All right? Stop giving me grief, bro. All right? We're gonna put Evan's music out for the outro music. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. Again, support Evan's music. Link is in the chat below. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
I'm in a woman's blouse, how Target acquired. Target acquired.